research project presented to the subject of value formation and production systems of the University of Brasilia. The JA1 group is composed by Ada Maria, Ayla, Alexandre, and Ana Gabriela. S2PA1 Research Project Topic A Social Aspects of Employment, Brasília 2060. The timing of the world, while facing many challenges and problems to be eradicated, is also a time of great opportunity, as great progress can be seen from past generations to the present day. After almost 15 years of establishing the Millennium Development Goals, progress has been made in a number of areas, but there are still some regions where such progress has been uneven, and these are the least developed countries. Agenda 2030 was created to standardize the development of the various nations so that all of them achieve sustainable development in order to guarantee economic and, above all, social progress. Among these social chains, those that were more precisely addressed in this research project were eradication of poverty, Objective 1, and promotion of full employment, Objective 8. All the objectives of Agenda 2030 are interdependent, creating a network of interlinked actions to promote global development and growth. Other goals of Agenda that have been listed throughout the work were ensuring education, Objective 4, achieving gender equality, Objective 5, and promoting peaceful and inclusive societies, Objective 60. All this is possible through the promotion of opportunities for work. Decent work can help to promote broader pro-poor policies. To begin with, the creation of decent jobs will broaden the funding base for key government interventions and institutional building up. Similar empowering workers and entrepreneurs, especially those who want to innovate and respond to the needs of the poor, will help strengthen the voice of the most vulnerable. In the sense, decent work can become a powerful driver of policies aimed at ending poverty in all its dimensions. The difference in income cannot be solved only with income transfers. It is obvious that people most exposed to poverty and large income disparities often face significant decent work deficits, combined with high dependence ratios. Economic growth is not enough to reduce poverty in a sustainable way. Growth must be accompanied by three different factors. First, policies that feed the equivalent distribution of income, making international labor rights and norms vitally important. Moreover, the nature of economic growth must change, which implies expanding the productive base and diversifying to sophisticate commerce, which, for example, is of great value to the agricultural sector, which depends on the productivity of various sectors of the economy. This includes the development of rural policies that connect the agricultural sector to non-rural activities. And finally, careful, conceived employment and income policies are a necessary complement to these political levers. They can help broaden the productive base by increasing levels of competence, participation in the labor market, and facilitating transactions for formal employment. In order to effectively reduce poverty by the provisions of the international labor standards, states must submit to ratifying conventions with specific mechanisms that have a positive impact on poverty reduction and should align their national legislation and policies accordingly. However, The potential for change in ILS can be reduced by a number of factors, including limiting effective and ineffective state coverage for the most vulnerable, lack of capacity to prevent to reach a large number of vulnerable workers. Looking more carefully at the agricultural sector, the promotion of decent work and agricultural wage employment is therefore an essential means of protecting fundamental labor rights and ensuring that employment contributes to poverty reduction. State intervention, NGOs and cooperatives can be effective in improving the organization, negotiation, position and knowledge of contract farmers, ensuring a fair distribution of the benefits of the supply chains. Breaking the vicious circle in which poverty and informality reinforce each other is not, however, an easy task. A comprehensive policy framework is needed that includes facilitating the transition of workers and economic units from the informal to the formal economy. In this process, it is important that security of income is safeguarded, and innovation and skills acquired through preserving informal activities. In order to complement actions to promote fair and inclusive work, it is necessary to include companies and provide parameters to standardize their action. The internal engagement of leaderships has always been a challenge and evolves according to the maturity of organizations. The Global Report Initiative (GRI) takes up its role as an influencer, reinforced by corporate interest in accountability mechanisms, and begins to charge, through guidelines and indicators, the involvement of top management in these choices. GRI's new guidelines come as an opportunity for reflection for organizations to readjust the direction of their business. The new Sustainability Reporting Guidelines (G4) can be used as a map, a tool to find ways. Also, the configuration of each sector and size of the organizations point different rhythms to go through this journey. Thus, through social dialogue, policies can be put in place and applied to ensure that responsibility is shared and limits of accountability are drawn. In this way, together, the true objectives of poverty eradication and the promotion of decent work can be achieved in a sustainable way. Now, we are going to see images that deal with the relationship between poverty and work. Figure 2 shows the percentage of youth and adults in moderate and extreme poverty, even though they are in the labor market. It's possible to compare the difference by region. Looking at the graph, we see that it's divided by 8 regions in red and also shows the world rates in gray. It's possible to perceive that the percentage of young people in extreme and moderate poverty represented by the first column is greater than the percentage of adults in the total population that works in all the regions. Poverty rates divided between moderate poverty in lighter red and gray, and extreme poverty with darker red and gray. We can see that the moderate poverty rate is higher in all regions. Being extreme poverty, that is when family income does not exceed $1.90 per capita per day, and moderate poverty is defined for those living with a family income of $1.90 to $3.10 per capita per day. Figure 7 shows the difference between the amount of unemployment by gender in each region, and it's possible to compare the amount of female and male unemployment between 1991 and 2060. In the chart, we can see 11 data from different places and the world data for the difference between unemployed men and women. The columns shows the 1991 data and the circles show the 2006 data. We can see that this difference increased in most places by demonstrating that the proportion of unemployed women compared to men increased by 25 years. Figure 1.1 addresses the distribution of poverty in emerging and developing countries according to gender and economic sector. We can see that we have two graphs with complementary data. The first one describes the proportion of poor and no poor worldwide, and the proportion between men and women, so we divide this data according to the sector of the economy. The second graph shows the proportion of poverty in the sectors of the economy, with the highest poverty rates being agricultural, followed by the industry, and lastly in services. Showing the agricultural among the sectors of the economy is the one that needs most attention. We can see that the rate of poor women is higher than of the men and higher in all world and agricultural and services. Already in industry, you can see that poverty rate is higher for men. The group GA1 thanks all the attention.